Hello my dearest friends, welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt. In today's video I'm going to do something that I've seen Tori from Novel Life do a couple of times on her channel, as well as a couple of other booktubers. I've seen this video going around and I really like the idea, and especially because I read a couple of books that really fit into this kind of a video idea I wanted to do one myself. It's if you like this book, then maybe you should try this book video, where really if you've really enjoyed one kind of book, you're probably looking for exactly the same kind of book in terms of vibes, in terms of tropes. At least that's what I typically do when I really love a book. I'm really craving to kind of continue on the same kind of vibe, the same kind of feeling for me. So I really enjoyed the videos that Tori did, so I definitely wanted to try it out and see whether you're going to enjoy the types of books that I recommend on this video. So I have 7 recommendations to give to you, and all of them are very kind of with different tropes, different kind of variety of books, so that you can have a couple of different picks out of this video. So let me just go ahead and dive into the book so that you can check out potentially new books that you can add to your TBR. So the first book that I'm going to give you recommendations for, so books that are similar to that one, is Only for the Weak by Natasha Bishop. This book just recently came out on audio, so if you haven't picked it up yet, please do yourself a favor and do so, because this book is just worth it. It's a destination wedding kind of setting, and we've got 2 characters who are part of the respective bridal shower and groomsmen party. Basically, the hero is smitten by the heroine. He has always had a thing for her, but it was kind of a no-go for them because she actually used to be in a relationship with the actual groom, and the groom is now marrying her sister. So it's quite a bit of a messy, drama-filled situation, but it's so good, especially because of the destination wedding setting and because of all of the activities that they participate in. I really love that book. And then I read 2 books, one of them being a novella and one of them being a full-length novel, that have a destination wedding setting as well, that really reminded me of Only for the Weak. The full-length novel is by Danielle Allen. It's Truth or Dare. And this one again has a destination wedding setting. They again have all these kinds of activities that they partake in. So it's really fun to see them have this forced proximity, this interaction and kind of activities that bring them together. And the difference between Only for the Weak and Truth and Dare is that in Truth and Dare we have a true friends to lovers relationship, because they used to be friends for many years and they never really had an idea that they would fit well each other until they actually got together during the wedding. And then for Only for the Weak, they actually weren't friendly and actually the hero was very kind of distant towards the heroine because he did have feelings for her, but because she was a forbidden kind of person for him, he couldn't really act on his emotions. So it's a different kind of vibe between the hero and heroine for both of the books, but really the setting of the books as well as kind of the chemistry between the characters is very similar to me. So I really enjoyed both of the books within that respect. And then the other book that is very similar to Only for the Weak that you can try out is a very short novella. If I'm not mistaken, it's between 70 and 80 pages, so you can get through it quite quickly. It's also available on Kindle Unlimited. The book is called Take a Chance by Mieko May. And again, we've got a black romance, we've got a destination wedding. It's actually the hero's brother who is getting married, and the hero and heroine meet up at the bar and they find out that they actually went to school together. They do remember each other from back when, but obviously many years have passed, so they're completely different people now, and he invites her to partake in the wedding activities with him. So again, very similar vibes, and I really enjoyed this book a lot as well. So yeah, try both of these out if you loved Only for the Weak. The next book that I'm going to mention is one that I've mentioned so many times on my channel because I absolutely love it. It's Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. It's not a coincidence, but again, it has a wedding setting. I really love wedding settings if you haven't noticed yet. So we've got a second chance romance within this one, and also kind of a situation where the hero and heroine need to work together on this wedding so that it becomes a hit. And a book that really reminded me of that I read recently is Tastes Like Shakar by Nisha Sharma. Within this book, we again have a wedding setting. Actually, it's a companion novel to the first book by this author. And within the first book, the hero and heroine, they got engaged, so they're going to have a wedding. And within Taste Like Shakar, we've got their best friends who need to work together to make their wedding work because they really need to get married very quickly. So they're kind of on a time crunch and they need to make a lot of things happen. The hero is he owns a restaurant, so he's going to take care of the catering. And the heroine, she's kind of like a wedding planner, and she really wants to prove a point that she can succeed with planning this wedding because she wants to get higher up within the company that she works for, and it's a family company as well. And it just gave me very similar vibes. So I think that maybe because within Forget Me Not, it was a second chance romance because they did have a relationship before that didn't work out, and there was like pining, and there was like some kind of like a feeling that both of them were unattainable to one another. With Taste Like Shakar, it's similar to the fact that they kind of had an antagonistic kind of start to their friendship or relationship, and they didn't like each other at the start. So there was this kind of attraction between them, but they knew that they shouldn't kind of go for it because they had some holdbacks. So those holdbacks were very similar for me, like the ones in Forget Me Not as well. So very much the setting, very much the fact that they need to work together, that there is forced proximity, and that they need to do certain activities again together to make the whole plan for the wedding work. It's very similar to me to Forget Me Not, so I would definitely recommend this one if you really enjoyed Forget Me Not. Now, 2 years ago, I read The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, and I really enjoyed that book. I gave it 5 stars. And it's a book where we've got a romance between the heroine and a ghost. It was very interesting to read through how that was going to wrap up and work out because he's a ghost and we are assuming that he is no longer living. So it's kind of a weird setup, but it really worked out very well in the end. And I didn't think that I would ever encounter a book that is very similar to that one, but I actually did recently. It's Ghosted by Sarah Reddy. We've got our heroine who lives in this apartment, or actually she just moves to this apartment. And when she gets into the apartment, she immediately notices that there is this guy there. He is shirtless and he's very hot, obviously. But she's like, what the heck is going on here? This is my apartment now, so what the heck are you doing here? And very kind of quickly she figures out that he's a ghost, and she's kind of trying to figure out how to get rid of him, right? Like how she can just keep her own space with the apartment that she rented. So she's like trying to figure out, should she kind of help him move on to the other side, or is there something else that she needs to do? So she's trying to kind of help him out to figure out what he needs so that he can move on. And at the same time, he notices that he can help her out with whatever she's dealing with at the moment. So they're kind of each other's cheerleaders, and they have forced proximity. So it's very similar to the vibes that we get in the Dead Romantics. But I really appreciated that it's not like a true copy of that book. So I think about until the 40-50% mark, you will definitely see similarities between the romance within the 2 books. But after the 50% mark, Ghosted goes into a completely different direction. And that is something that I very much appreciated because it felt like it was original. So yeah, this one I really enjoyed as well. So if you like the Dead Romantics, definitely try Ghosted by Sarah Reddy. Next up, we've got one of my spicy favorites by Nikki Sloan. It's The Pool Boy. This one is an age gap romance where the heroine is the older character and the hero is the younger character. Within this book, we've got kind of like a taboo forbidden romance, especially because the hero is the heroine's best friend's son. And also within this book, we've got a musician. So the hero, he is trying to break out in the Nashville scene. And then we've got a similar book to that one that I just recently read. It's The Idea of You by Robin Lee. This book features another age gap romance where the heroine is in her 40s while the hero is in his 20s. So there is a big age gap, and he is a musician as well. He's in a very popular band. So those vibes are very similar to one another. And the thing that also is very similar is the fact that there is quite immaculate spice in both of the books, and the heroes worship the heroines within both of the books. So if you like The Pool Boy, do yourself a favor and read The Idea of You by Robin Lee, especially because it's getting an adaptation very soon. The next two books I'm going to mention are actually both recent reads for me. The book that I want to tell you about first is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. This book is a very sweet romance where we've got two characters who had a one-night stand and the heroine ends up pregnant. So there is a surprise pregnancy trope within this book. And then I know that this is not a favorite trope, but this one was just executed so well, especially because the hero is so involved with the whole process of wanting to help the heroine out throughout the whole pregnancy, throughout kind of managing all her details for what is going to happen now that you're going to have a baby, because this is something that you definitely didn't anticipate. And both of them are just so sweet together. And then a book that I just recently read that really reminded me of Out on a Limb, not only because it has the surprise pregnancy trope, but because the hero was so supportive of the heroine, is Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. The audiobook for this one is just spectacular as well, so please do yourself a favor and read it on audio. And it's a book that definitely does differ a bit from Out on a Limb in the respect of the heroine has a surprise pregnancy with one character, so she has a one-night stand with this guy, but her romance is with someone else. It's actually with her best friend's brother. So it's such a wonderful kind of book of having to discover what awaits you now that you're going to bring a child into the world. What does pregnancy entail? What do you expect when you're expecting, and what do you not expect as well? So yeah, both of these books were really books that I really enjoyed so much. And if you did like Out on a Limb, please try out Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. The next book is a sports romance. It's Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This book was very popular. It's an ice hockey romance as well as a figure skating romance, because the hero is a hockey player while the heroine is a figure skater. And the two of them start off not on the best of terms because the hockey team does something very stupid, and now they're forced to kind of share a hockey rink together with the figure skaters. So the heroine is really pissed off that she is getting cut from her ice time. And they start off not on the best of terms, but then they become friends and eventually move on into lovers territory. And then the book that really reminded me of this one is a recent read of mine. It's The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer. This one is a hockey romance as well. The heroine is actually the physical therapist for the team. And within this book, there is a fake dating trope. So when it comes to the tropes, they're not very similar, but when it comes to the vibes, they're definitely similar for me. What made me feel like they're very similar is the fact that within both of the books, the hero really wants to help out the heroine to achieve something on personal level, something like a dream of theirs, and they want to support them throughout every single step within that journey. And just having this kind of hero who is so supportive and so emotionally invested into the success and the emotional well-being of their heroines is something that I really related to within both of the books. And just the banter between the characters, also kind of the fact that they're both spicy, it just made me feel like they're very compatible or very similar to one another. So if you liked Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, please pick up The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer. Now, the last book on my list is a nanny romance. It's the very popular Heartless by Miss Elsie Silver. It's part of the Chestnut Spring series. So this one is a nanny romance where we've got a hero who is kind of grumpy, kind of brooding. He is not kind of in the market for a relationship, and he's very taken aback by the fact that he's developing feelings for his nanny. And a similar situation we definitely get in Caught Up by Liz Ford. We've got a romance where the hero is a baseball player, professional baseball player, so he definitely needs assistance with his newly born son. I think his son is like not even a year old, so he definitely needs assistance. He needs a nanny. And then his coach proposes that the coach's daughter becomes the nanny at least for the summer until they kind of find a hang of things and find a more permanent solution for him. And the hero is, again, he's very closed off. He's not very grumpy, but he's definitely brooding because he's so afraid of kind of handing over control of his most precious kind of person in his life to someone else. So he's definitely not in the market for a romance. He's kind of closed off all emotions when it comes to that part. So he's very kind of irked that he feels an attraction for the heroine. So those are the vibes that made it very similar for me. Right now, nanny romances are really hot. They're really in, and I know that you're probably going to find quite a few examples of nanny romances if you're looking for a nanny romance. But these two give off very similar vibes for me, even though the tropes are not the same. Within Heartless, we've got kind of like a cowboy rancher small town romance. Well, with Caught Up, it's a city romance. It's not small town, it's a baseball sports romance, but like the vibes for the nanny and employer relationship are very similar. Also, the banter is just chef's kiss within both of these books. Like the heroines are really working on the last nerves of their heroes, and they know that they can do it because the heroes are just gone for them. So yeah, I really love both of these books, and if you haven't picked them up, you need to run to the store to get them. So my friends, these were all the recommendations that I wanted to give to you. If you have any similar books to the ones that I mentioned, please leave them down in the comments because I want to check them out. And if you like my video, please don't forget to put a thumbs up. Also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Happy reading. Take care. And